So this is January 5th, 2012. I want to talk a little bit about a political issue. Hope that doesn't get on anyone's nerves or anything like that. But this is a variety type of channel, so I did want to talk about something I'm definitely interested in. I'm going to talk a little bit about gun rights, why I think that this is an important issue to talk about. Let me just turn on this a little bit. And why, why people should consider a certain point of view. So, the United States is kind of rare, amongst all the other developed countries in that it allows, citizens in good standing to own a firearm. And there's virtually little to, no restrictions on, standard normal type guns that people can buy as long as they don't have a felony. Now, this has some interesting implications. I used to be of the school of thought, that believed that it was wrong for people to own a gun because I felt that, so many deaths were caused by people getting shot each year. And I thought that, so many kids accidentally shoot themselves. And that's awful. Those are awful things. Don't get me wrong. But there's a certain thing about guns that I find very important to a democracy. First of all, United States, any family has a right to protect themselves with a firearm in their own home. That's a very important right because think of all the situations that happen that people can protect themselves and their family from any harm or danger that anyone can cause them, whether it be theft, whether it be someone trying to murder a member of the family, whatever it may be. People have a right to protect themselves. And I think that's the first step. The second is also on a more macro level. The right to bear arms, if you look back in history, why it wasn't so that, a bunch of hicks can own guns and go shooting them off in the desert and, with whatever else they do. This was so that citizens can protect themselves against foreign intruders, foreign enemies that would come into the country. And that's exactly what happened with the Revolutionary War. There was a lot of, there was a lot of army, a lot of navy, there was a lot of militiamen, and there was a lot of citizens that protect themselves from the British. Now, it may seem that that was a different time, that now we have an army that takes care of us. We feel like we don't have to have this self-reliance that they did back then. But if you break it down, if the United States were to go through something like World War II with France, they get invaded by Germany. The difference is that American citizens that are not military would still be able to protect themselves. On a obviously a very lesser level, the firearms that a citizen can buy, usually aren't like, huge artillery or, bombs or anything like that, but they can protect at least their own house. And let me put it this way. Let's say that Mexico, now this isn't going to happen, but let's say Mexico wanted to invade the United States. Let's say they go through Texas, okay? And let's say that they actually, fend off the military and stuff, are actually becoming successful at invading us. That wouldn't be the case, but let's just say hypothetically that was. And they push the military back. Well, guess what? If you go through Texas, you have all those NRA members, you have all those people that own guns, that love their guns, that, will die for their guns. You think you're going to go through Texas and be able to go through those guys too? No, those guys will assemble, they'll create a militia, they'll get all riled up about it. That's a whole different component that a country has. It's another layer of, it's like pseudo-military militia kind of thing of people that can protect themselves. Now, back during World War II, Nazi Germany invaded a lot of different countries. But they didn't invade one. And it's kind of debated why. A lot of people say a lot of different reasons. But one reason that was mentioned, that the reason why this country wasn't invaded was something very interesting. They never invaded Switzerland. And Switzerland is a unique country. So Germany never invaded Switzerland, and Switzerland is kind of an interesting country because it's a little bit like ours in the gun rights. People in good standing can own guns. They take it even a step further. They say that all men ages 18 through 35 or something like that must own a gun in their home. It's part of a requirement so that if they ever need to be summoned to, if they ever need to be drafted or, conscripted into the military, that they would already have the arms. And that was the case back during World War II. And Germany never invaded Switzerland. And one of the reasons that was cited was because of this, because they had a bunch of people that had arms. So this is a very important component to it. The United States has a certain dynamic that most developed countries don't have, is that besides the massive military, there's also this inner side. The innards of the country have a lot of citizens that own firearms that can protect themselves. So I wanted to do on the same topic, I wanted to do a quick gun review. I don't want to get into that idea on YouTube where those people do gun reviews and they show their gun and everything, and it kind of gets a little old. I'm not going to do tons of gun reviews on here. This is going to be just a few. But I did want to do one I do own. Let me go ahead and just point the camera over here. I do own a Springfield XD-45. So that's 45 caliber. Let's just go ahead and be smart about this. There's nothing in the gun itself. So I'll just go ahead and release the pin. Okay. This is a very interesting firearm. It has a 13 capacity 45 magazine that can be inserted into it. I'll show you the one I have. So 13, it's actually staggered. There's 13 different rounds that go in here. And I happen to have hollow point right there. And you just insert it into there, you cock it back, and there's no hammer to cock. You just rack it basically. And this is a very interesting weapon. It was developed in Croatia. It's actually made in Croatia. You look on there, it says Springfield Armory, but it says product of Croatia, so it's actually made in Croatia. I think it's one of the most high quality 45 caliber semi-automatic pistols that you can buy for the price. This one I got it used, but the used prices aren't very much lower than new prices, just because a lot of people do like this gun so much. It's a very popular gun. So I got this one for about $500. Has some interesting features on it. It doesn't actually have a safety in the sense that it doesn't have a trigger lock, or it doesn't have like a hammer lock or anything like that. What happens is, if you want to fire this weapon, you have on the trigger here, you actually have to engage this separated part of the trigger, and also on the grip there's another lever right there. If those two aren't engaged, it won't fire. So this means that it's been shown that if it's dropped, it won't fire because those two have to be engaged. Really, if someone wants to shoot this gun, they have to intend on shooting it. And that's true about every gun, but that's how the safety mechanism works on here. I do have a flashlight built to the top of it. I think that's an important feature for gun safety, so that if, heaven forbid, you ever have to use your gun, and I don't plan on ever having to. I like to go through my entire life not having to ever use it against somebody to protect my family. But if I ever had to and it was dark, at least you can illuminate what you're seeing so you don't accidentally shoot Fido or whatever. Okay. The assembly of this gun is very simple. If you want to field strip it, you just simply pull back the rack. There's this little flag that you have to push up. You release the rack, gently press on the trigger, and it comes apart. It doesn't require any kind of tools. Very simple. bringing it back together, make sure the flag's still up, like I have right there. Bring it back, cock it all the way back, put down the flag, and now it's cocked and loaded if there was a magazine in it. You just go ahead and release that. So that's it. That's the idea behind this gun. I really think it's a fantastic piece of machinery. The way they were able to make it. I think it's a very high quality gun. Even though it's made in Croatia, it's sold through Springfield, which is a very popular American company. They make a lot of 1911s, some rifles and things like that. And all around I'm very impressed with it. You know, a lot of people compare it to some of the polymer Glock guns. You know, a lot of Ruger guns. That kind of idea. You know, and so if you're looking for a polymer, this is definitely one that you might want to consider.